Mythic Hero trailer, Mythic Hero trailer, Mythic Hero trailer. The data has told us we can expect something green. Who's green? Oda? Who else is green? Well, never mind, it's Oda. It's Oda. I don't need to think of any other green units. Oda, Phoenix Master 1's evil twin brother.
I am Oter, King Fafnir's brother.
That's what he just said. I am Oda, Phoenix Master 1's brother. You heard him. You heard the man. Well, Phoenix Master 1 is the face of free-to-play in this game, so Oda's kit should be the definition of pay-to-win, right? Well, may as well take a look. He is a green axe, cavalry, Anima Season Mythic, Astra Season Mythic, Anima Season Mythic. Anima is defense, Astra is offense. That's the way it goes, Penros, don't forget it. Anima Season Mythic. So he's sharing with, Mirabilis, Seiros, all those. Mainly, the most important competition he has is Seiros, because Seiros is the extra slot unit. Oda is the second extra slot unit, so everyone who wants an extra slot is going to have to run one of those two units. Which one's better? Starting off with his PRF then, Otto Loffenheiver. Well, wasn't it just Loffenheiver in the story? Where did he get the auto part from? Is that new? Grants attack +3, enables Kanto free during turns 1 through 4, same as Regan. If a unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack +6 to unit during combat, inflicts attack -6 on foe during combat, and unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack. Well, we know from having fought him in the story that his stat line is tanky and slow. And, well, he's still like that. He's probably. I mean, we haven't seen his stats yet, but I'm guessing he's still like that because I don't usually change that. Tanky and slow, so he gets a free follow-up attack, and he gets a spendthrift like attack +6 self, attack -6 to foe. There's a unit who you may be familiar with who does basically the exact same thing. That unit is Summer Frere. Not Summer Freya, Summer Frere. The buff guy. You remember him, right? He's like that, right? And that's fine, honestly. That'll do. The downside, of course, being that as a mythic, Oda is gonna be at a stat disadvantage to everyone he's fighting against. I've always said having support skills is the mark of a really strong mythic. Oda isn't quite like that. Also, I swear this is different from the weapon he had in the story. Someone go check that. I could have sworn that the weapon he had in the story was different somehow. It's really getting to me. But yeah, he is basically just Summer Frere, except with the beast effect swapped out for Kanto Free instead. And hey, Kanto Free is interesting. It's actually kind of annoying to play around on defense, because when you're building a defense map, your defense units, controlled by the AI, like to use Kanto to run away from the enemy team. They use Kanto to run away, and that's often kind of the opposite of what you want them to do. You want them to go that way, not that way. I'm pointing right now. You can't see me, but I am pointing. So yeah, Kanto will send him to weird places. But still, he should be able to fight pretty well, and he follows it up with a PRF special, Brutal Shell. At the start of turn 1, grants special cooldown count -3 to unit, treats foe's defense res as if reduced by 50% when special triggers. It is a Luna that pre-charges itself. Just like Regan, except Regan's special honestly was better. I'm going to say it right now. Regan's special has adaptive damage, which means a lot. And Regan just in general is better, I'll say, honestly. Because as the player, you can use Kanto just so much more effectively than the AI can. Also, in the A slot, I'm noticing something a bit odd here. G Dual Cavalry 4? I mean, sure, I guess he is a green cavalry unit. That much is true. Are they really trying to sell Oda as an arena unit, though? I mean, I guess they did put previous dual skills on Peony. I guess. But... And I mean, I guess also, if you flip it the other way, the dual 4s aren't actually awful skills. Unlike the dual 3s, which were just reflavored HP plus 5 unless you're in arena, dual 4 actually gives you a decent amount of stats just all around. Plus 8 stats and 5 hit points. That's nothing to laugh at. But just a really odd choice, I'll say. Flow Refresh, free. Well, hey, a great piece of fodder there, at least. And it does actually work with Oda's kit. Goes in, hits, and then he has a guaranteed follow-up in his kit. He, I guess, has null follow-up on attack, or at least half of it, so that his guaranteed follow-up will happen. Still an odd choice to put a null follow-up type effect on a slow unit who's relying on a guaranteed follow-up, is my personal take. Because even if you've got half a null follow-up, that does nothing to fast tanks who are still out there. They're not quite as popular as they used to be, but they are still out there, who are also under the effect of null follow-up themselves. If they're under the effect of null follow-up, then it doesn't matter if you've got half a null follow-up, because you're just preventing their prevention effects, not their null effects, and you're slow, so you don't get a follow-up. The 10 HP healing, probably actually he kind of likes that, though, because he is tanky. Should be tanky. He's got attack -6 as well on you, so he should be tanky, right? So hopefully he survives, he gets to heal up. Although, as the kind of bruiser he is, he gets most of his damage on the first hit anyway with Brutal Shell, so... Well, I guess it's alright. And in the C slot, attack, defense, menace. It's not new, but it is just a great thing to have on a Fred's defense. All in all, I'm going to be honest with you, I think Seiros is better. I mean, their kits are relatively similar, but Seiros is probably going to hit similarly hard, and be similarly tanky. Except Seiros also has Dragon Wall. The only real advantage Oda has is mobility, and that comes at the cost of Kanto being able to do weird things to your AI. Of course, if you've got a team that wants to use Kanto, because if you found a way to make it work for you, great. But in my personal measure, Seiros is kind of winning here. What more can I say? Well, not much more, honestly. I guess we'll see what he does. As in, like, does. As in his animations, because we've just seen his kit, obviously. You know, here's Oda beating up one of his own guys, because he's a meanie. A big old meanie.
Quiet, scum!
You hear that? That's something that a meanie would say. You heard it here first. And there's his stats. Obviously he's being buffed by Menace, but he's still got a very strong, and I think that was 17 speed I saw there. As for the rest of the banner, Eliwood, Legendary Leaf, Altina, Legendary Celica, Legendary Crom, Shinon, Legendary Claude, Marianne, regular ass Marianne, Pala, Ziki, and Byleth. Legendary Byleth. Zeke is probably actually called Zeke now that I think about it, not Zeke, but those are the colours. Looking at them now, green. Well, even if you don't want Oda for his mythic usage, one thing I will say about him is that they've given him just all around a great spread of fodder. G-Dual Cav, good for your green Cavs that you're building. Any green Cav unit that you want to plus 10, you may as well throw that on them. Flow Refresh, one of the most exciting cavalry skills in the game, currently only really held back by the fact that it's on units that you don't want to fodder. And in the C slot, Attack, Defense, Menace, well, that Menace skills are basically best in slot for the C slot for that playstyle. The buffing, the visible buff, visible debuff playstyle. There are other C slot things that are good for other reasons, like your joint drives, that sort of thing, but a menace is a menace. And no, like threatens, that sort of thing, just aren't going to match a menace for self-buffing and foe debuffing. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Oda has good fodder. That's the plus side of Oda. Oda has good fodder. And alongside him, Legendary Celica has, at the very least, Swift Sparrow 3, if I recall correctly, and Legendary Byleth is just crazy good still. Legendary Byleth, great unit, great support as well. That's a very rare combination. You can use him as a nuke and as null follow-up support, so you can offload null follow-up and run a different B slot on the units that want it, or run null follow-up on units that can't run it because they're not units that can run it. I'm being very eloquent here. It is 4 AM, okay? So green as a colour I'd say is worth rolling, obviously if you've got the orbs for it. If none of these units are ones you want to push for, then sure, ignore it. But then why are you here? Honestly, right? Colourless, I'd also say looking very good. Legendary Claude, crazily strong unit. Legendary Claude can beat most things in my humble onion. Legendary Leaf, not quite Legendary Claude level, but still one of the absolute kings of hit and run. He's now been kind of outdone by another Leaf, Seasonal Leaf. I don't know what we're calling that latest season because it's not a dancer banner anymore, but that Leaf. And Shinon as Deadeye, making him instantly one of the most important fodder units in the game. His other skills are also good. Blue is decently exciting. Legendary Crom is strong as Legendary Crom, of course. Zeke and Marianne are kind of average as units. There's nothing particularly excessively exciting about either of them, I'd say, but they do both, again, have very valuable fodder. So if you need the skills from them, well, I mean, the test I always do for these banners is do you want all three of them, right? If you're pulling on a colour, do you want all three units? Because if there is one unit you would not be happy with, that is the unit you will roll. And finally testing this theory is red. Because red has Eliwood. I'm pretty sure that's Eliwood. It's 4 AM. I'm too tired for this. Eliwood. There's nothing really much to say about Eliwood. He's just kind of outdated. Hopefully he'll get a legendary remix soon so that he can be less bad. Altina, likewise, as a mythic, isn't much to write home about anymore. Sure, Altina merges are always decent, at least because Altina has bonus seasons and you want to score more, right? But aside from that, Altina doesn't really have fodder. Oh, well, there is some fodder there, but if you're foddering Altina for it, what is wrong with you? Which means that Pala, weirdly enough, is the most exciting red unit on this banner, which says a lot about the colour red. Don't roll red. The other three colours are all worth considering. It is 8%, which is slightly better than other banners, but you already know how Mythic Legendary banners work. You play Fire Emblem Heroes. What am I talking about? Anyway, I'm probably not rolling much because there are more banners in the future that I would like to have orbs for, hopefully. I'm flipping losing it over here, don't worry about me. Anyway, I'm assuming there's nothing else as a surprise on the banner, no, just the dates. Thank you all for watching. I'm Penross776. I will see you all in the future at some point, hopefully. Ta-ra!